Tina Lawson and her second spouse of 8 years, Richard Lawson, have tapped out and truly, despite the fact that we felt that things were strong between them incidentally. They had been faking things for a really long time, and the marriage has been a wreck. Currently, individuals have been estimating about what truly occurred, and it resembles Miss Tina is cheerful in light of the fact that she just provided us with a breakdown of what prompted the separation, and Shawatan was going down in the background. Did Richard truly change around on her? I don't have any idea what's in the air or in the water down at Hollywood, yet it appears as though this is the season for separations and detachments. Since we have heard such countless reports of celebs getting separated from this previous week alone, and sadly one of such individuals is Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles. Now, they never truly discussed their marriage openly yet. At whatever point they inhabited, we're certain that Richard and Tina were areas of strength for going. Makes this news significantly more disturbing is the way that individuals believed that Richard would have been her perfect suitor. After all that Matthew put her through, individuals feel like she merits a blissful cutting off after a tragic and harmful friendship. With Matthew Knowles finished to give you a few setting, Tina and Matthew were hitched for over 30 years in show. Would I let you know that them 30 years were distraught? Rumors from far and wide suggest that Matthew betrayed Tina all through the 30 years that they were hitched. And in any event, when Beyonce turned into a star, Matthew didn't quit betraying Tina. Truth be told, it deteriorated. He wound up getting not one, yet two unique ladies pregnant at around a similar time. The second love kid was the straw that broke the camel's back for Tina, and she wound up unloading him and petitioning for legal separation. Beyonce dropped Matthew as her chief after this, and keeping in mind that the authority reason is that he was associated with taking from her kin, have consistently accepted that the genuine explanation that she terminated him was on the grounds that he had two children on her mother. We realize Beyonce was irritated about this, since she has never recognized Matthew's love kids anyway. Back to Tina. Her separation from Matthew was settled in late 2011, yet she didn't begin dating Richard until the late spring of 2013. Yet what many individuals don't understand is that she and Richard go way back, since they had known one another for over 30 years. And have been companions all through. Richard's sister Gwen was Tina's closest companion. Richard and Tina initially met in 1981, when Tina had gone to visit Gwen. At the time, Tina was vigorously pregnant with Beyonce, yet that didn't prevent Richard from having a moment fascination with her. It was unexplainable adoration for himself, and he attempted to put continues on Tina, despite the fact that he could plainly see that she was pregnant and hitched, yet that didn't make any difference to him. So I assume as he was about that way of life, Tina wound up turning him down on the grounds that in addition to the fact that she was hitched, he was hitched with a kid too. Yet despite the fact that Tina turned him down, Richard was not prepared to surrender, and he decided to remain in the companion zone. Remaining in the companion zone failed to help Richard on the grounds that he was still enamored with her, yet shockingly, he figured out how to remain conscious of her marriage, and nothing unseemly at any point occurred between them anyway. Many individuals don't really accept this, and there have been murmurs throughout the long term that the explanation Tina approved of Matthew betraying her is that she was additionally sneaking around with more extravagant. Now, these are simply tales. And this is what the Twitter roads are talking about, so you all didn't hear from me anyway. After she got separated from Matthew, Richard hit her up and began taking actions on her again. This is only a next degree of responsibility, since he hung tight 31 years for her union with end. And afterward he took his action tragically for him. Tina wasn't intrigued from the start, and individuals accepted that piece of the explanation is on the grounds that Richard had gotten another lady pregnant after he got separated from his most memorable wife. He wasn't precisely in that frame of mind with his second child mom, and it was more similar to an excursion It's not hard to see the reason why Tina would feel a kind of way about dating a man with a kid from an indulgence due to her involvement in Matthew. So I can comprehend the reason why she would be frightened of placing herself in that situation again. It took Richard 2 years to persuade her to alter her perspective, and they at last began dating in 2013. This implies that it took Matthew 32 years to get an opportunity. At any rate, their relationship was working out positively, and they were keeping things quite carefree, until Beyonce's girl Blue Ivy, who was as yet a baby at the time, said something asking when they would get hitched. Richard then, at that point, requested Blue's endorsement to wed her grandmother, and she gave her approval. Now Richard and Tina hadn't even examined marriage before this, yet they accepted it as a sign and got hitched the extremely 1 year from now. One thing that individuals have found exceptionally peculiar is the way that after Tina got hitched to Richard, she chosen to keep Matthew's last name, Knowles. She decided to join it with Matthew's last name, Lawson, and she became Tina Knowles Lawson. Individuals have consistently asked why, for heaven's sake, she didn't simply drop the nose, since she was not generally hitched to Matthew, yet she presumably needed to keep that piece of her character, particularly since both of her girls actually had the Knowles last name. Anyway, individuals were pulling for their union with work. It took them 30 years to see as one another. And assuming we're being straightforward, they made a very 2 or 3. They were constantly seen connected at the hip with one another, and it was uncommon for them to unveil appearances without one another. However, at that point in 2018, something occurred between them that caused a ton of debate online. The two of them went on a show, and Tina said that Richard was flawed. I petitioned God for the sort of man I needed, and I got basically that. Is he wonderful? In no way, shape, or form, yet you realize he has a ton of the characteristics. No, he has a ton of the characteristics that I love, and we're having a truly great time. Better believe it. He certainly disapproved of that. It wasn't what she said, yet the way that she said it, and from the expression all over, he felt a kind of way about it. And I think from that point forward their marriage has been somewhat rough, like they only sort of dialed back, similar to the blissful wedded couple, and separation reports about them have been going around throughout recent months. Tina hasn't posted photos of her and Richard on Instagram in months, and the last time she posted was in spring at the Vanity Fair Oscars party. Far and away more terrible, he wasn't welcome to Jay-Z's mother's wedding recently, despite the fact that Tina was in participation. This isn't the kind of occasion that he would have missed, so fans realized that something was up considerably more. Tina didn't go to the screening of Richard's new film Dark Fear, and in pictures from the occasion fans saw that he wasn't wearing his wedding band, which was extremely strange of him. Yet the greatest warning is the way that Tina eliminated Richard's last name from her Instagram bio. It used to say Tina Knowles Lawson, yet presently it says Tina Knows. And it seems as though the marriage is truly finished. And as per an insider, Tina has been attempting to minimize the split, trusting that individuals wouldn't see clearly. Things have been unpleasant among her and Richard for some time currently, as per sources.